what you see in back of me right here is where Howe and Cornwallis crossed the western branch of the Brandywine on their flanking maneuver to outflank the American at Birmingham Meeting House. Now what you see in front of me here is the west branch of the Brandywine Creek. Now right now this is pretty flooded. The Brandywine, it rained last night. This is a little bit higher than it normally is. The bridge in back of me would have been a covered structure. It was the oldest covered bridge in Chester County at that time at Trembles Ford. That's what this was called. Now, as we talked about before, a ford was a road that went into the creek, went across the creek, and then emerged on the other side. Now, where this bridge is now, this was just restored. It's new, it's steel. It's not like what it used to be. It was a covered bridge. Now, this area was not where Cornwallis and Howe crossed the Brandywine. It's just up a little bit. It's about 100 yards to the north. That's where the ford was. This road right here did not exist in 1777. Now there's a house across the way. It's right over here about 25 yards to my left. This house was built around 1760. It was a farm. Its farm extended to the south. This gentleman here, when this ford was here, American light infantry was in the area scouting. They brought out about 15 to 20 light infantry and light horse to scout out this area to make sure Howe or the British Army weren't in this area. There was reports that they were. Washington or Sullivan had horsemen set out here. Now, the horse were in this area. They stopped in the house across the way. They looked in there. The gentleman was a British loyalist, and the cavalry had red uniforms. The American cavalry had red uniforms. He thought they were British. He invited them into the house. They sat down in that house. They had lunch in the house. So, while they're eating lunch in the house, the patriot that was in this house, the loyalist, the British loyalist, thought that these were British officers on horseback. But they weren't. They were American scouts. He didn't say that. So, the gentleman in the house turns and looks out the window. He says, "Oh, here come your friends. You might want to meet up with them." The horsemen look out the window. They see the advance of Howe and Cornwallis's army marching behind me coming down the embankment. 7,000 to 9,000 redcoats. They said, "Oh yeah, we're going to go in front of the army." The gentleman in the house said, "Oh, we're not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be ahead of our army." They were lying. They got out of there pretty damn fast. They jumped on the horses and they went across Trembles Ford and told Washington they couldn't get there fast enough. The army had crossed here by now. The light cavalry had spotted Howe and Cornwallis in the area. Now, Trembles Ford was the first of two fords that were crossed by Howe and Cornwallis. They crossed here, the western branch. They crossed by the eastern branch, which is about 2 miles to the north. They crossed there, and it was called Jeffrey's Ford. Most of these fords were named after the farmer that owned the land. He maintained the ford. He kept the ford. So in this area, this is generally where Howe and Cornwallis's army was spotted by our light infantry.